Okay, so I just had a few messages. Now, one of the things that I've noticed when I'm going through the playback on my videos is that there is a specific tensor space that has been causing like technical difficulties in a few of my videos. So I'm gonna redo those, okay? Because I feel like they're important. They're that important. Now, what I want to actually get to today, specifically for the Afghan and Middle Eastern community, is something that is going to get exposed. Now, one of the things that's happening here on this channel is that because of how many people got involved in the situation, because of how long it went on, because of how people got exposed, because also to the spiritual aspect of it, and then everything with space, and then it being confirmed that what we consider to be spiritual is just space. So what's all that said, right? With that said, a lot of people are not going to be able to understand this. I'm here to talk to the people that deserve to hear what I have to say. You guys know that there's a lot of karmics trying things, starting things, etc. They're not getting anything from me. It's for you, okay? For us, and we move forward. Now, we're talking about the computer, and can this really actually stop? Some of you guys know that there's something that sparked in your mind, which allowed you to ponder for a certain moment out of time a new way of being, living, doing, etc. And that's what they don't want, right? So imagine that type of euphoria. They are using chemicals that they're bringing from space to try and intercept the aspect of consciousness that creates that, and then the neurotransmitter and the chemical process, right? So one of the things that's happening here is they're finding out their limitation, and there's several, and that's fine, right? Now here is where we get to find out how expansive we get to be, and great, look how time consuming that is, that I don't ever have to think about you again. God gave me a gift to heal from what you started, right? So now it's an hey, where the party at type of energy in the community. Even people that are going through a lot, they know that that's just done. Upon entering into a certain like awareness and frame of mind, like, okay, this can all be done, it's all going to change, it's all over, we have the infrastructure. Did I come into the realization that there are a few things that people want said about this whole new code and who's getting left out and this and that? Like, are you sure? How do you know? Right? Why answer those questions when we've already proven evidence here and we've already seen that it can execute, right? We've already also seen people's hand in trying to intercept the execution and then getting executed, right? Because it's just math. Like, you're playing with physics and you're playing with magic and hacking and causing drama and starting world wars off hacking people's computer and sharing emails and causing drama and monitoring people. So now, right, I was able to do that. That in itself is like what we call like as like a strong entity that allows me to like fathom like more of the reality of God after suffering, right? So a lot of people are seeing that. I think it's important to say that, and we could still like, yeah, I'm here. I like Quran and this and that, but I can also find them in the computer, right? We've been doing that. Let's keep moving. So I just had to say that for a few people in the community and a few folks watching. Now, I said that to say a few things. We recently exposed that there was a plan to play with a lot of different entertainers, play with their music, etc. We now have come to the next level of this with the Palestinian community, the Middle Eastern community, the Afghan community, which I'm going to separate. It's three buckets of stories. Let's divinate on the Palestinian community first. The message mainly here is that a lot of people allowed the chaos in your community so that they can create a strife with using the hair of women that were harmed and selling it in the black community. A lot of the dishonorable rappers got involved in that. That's why you're watching this like, wow, their music, I've heard of him before. Why him? What's going on? That's what they did. So they were promised get involved in sex rituals, play in your hood, kidnap people first for clinical trials, keep stuff quiet, do this, do that, move fentanyl, you get this and this and that. So what ended up happening is in that the community said, oh, really? Whoa, I don't want any drama because in space, this is where another level comes in. The women that passed away put magic on their hair, murder magic. And a lot of females really got killed like over that. So a lot of women stopped wearing weave, but then the human hair, but then the synthetic hair, they played with the chemical in the sky. And then there were like three specific chemical incidents, explosions, where they were playing in my computer, looking for recipes, looking for this, playing with the neural monitoring technology. I don't put anything in my computer because of what they do. I'm just waiting for people to see this so that surefire, you know that you're going to get killed. I just want you to do it in front of this person, right? So that's what I'm waiting for. That person is coming. So now what's happening here is the black community said, wait, nah. So that's what you were doing the entire time, and you got into the involved with them to get that, and then on top of that, other stuff that they were moving. So this is another thing that, right? And now you see Israel and their pharmacy is about to stop, and now they're trying to play back with India and like back to original games, and that's done too in spiral valence, right? So I say that to say that I drafted up a chemical sequence to make a specific type of chemical to turn your like synthetic weave into like a texture of human hair, and it'll be long lasting. And I've come on here and I've shown you guys how you could play in your spiral valence for your wig because it's made out of fiber, right? Different things like that, and move forward. So now one of the things that you're finding out here is like, oh, okay, so that was one of the things that they were doing, right? So you have access to the rappers and then hoes, and then they want boutiques and money, cars, and clothes and hoes, yeah. And they were lighting up everyone's hood and starting a bunch of drama to get affiliated and bringing it into the church and causing a bunch of drama and starting a bunch of nonsense, yes. So even imagine the masjid, they were playing with whites and getting money into the masjid. That's what they were doing, playing. So now let's move forward. Moving forward from that message, now we've seen the secret hand, them playing at Empire Records. He's a Palestinian man. It's a bunch of them playing games, but more families getting wrapped up in it and getting exposed. And why does this keep on going? It's out of control, right? And now we see where there's going to be a total stop and end to the mental illness because we've identified its source. And they've been trying to bring out like a bunch of like this and a bunch of that and a bunch of substances and feel like this. The technology, one of the things you guys are going to find out is the technology is really ran more from space than it is on planet Earth. Planet Earth is at just initiating a basic bridge. It's space that brings down more of the conduit and then adds something called quantization to increase the effect from like far away, and then you're talking in people's ear and spine, and how are you doing that type of energy, right? So now that this is coming out on a larger scale, how much has gotten started? There's only just a few things to happen in every IDE, in every operating system, in every ISP or IXP. Put a specific binary coding, right? Encrypt your brainwaves so that people of America don't have to deal with that. And if you want to unlock it, then you pay for it. Right. And then I think that like because we're aquatic, we just do it anyways. And let that just not be the norm. So I feel like in the few days, weeks to come, you're gonna see like, okay, this is how it also works. It institutes specific flow pattern that will allow us to get to our pathway here, like surefire, right? So now let's move forward. You guys have seen that. The Afghan community stand up. A lot of people that I've heard about this nonsense walking like, oh, you know, that's going to keep on going and this and that, like just goofy shit. Like you're proud to be a man involved in nonsense like that. Right. And it's like something where also too, it's helping build a bridge in the a Muslim community for people that, you know, choose to be queer and they still want to practice Islam with their community. And people are realizing the differences and how people are using a sexual warfare in the community, and then also mixing it with Islam on the other end, which came out very heavy in the community, not just the Afghani community, but also heavy in the Moroccan community and other parts of the Middle East and Iraq. And what they were doing, saying, oh, yeah, well, his son is doing this and making money. And well, look at the daughter. She's more prospects for marriage. Let's go play in their family's name. And starting to say like, oh, look, I have your son on camera. He was doing haram things. Why would you drug my son and have sex with him? What the hell is wrong with you? Yeah. Well, you have to come to the masjid now and play and pay for I just did, aka like haram tax, and that's what they were starting. Now remember that these people, some of even Aki and them don't know that some of these Arabs, some of the Afghanis on the far end, and a few other people, they are still connected to Russia and still Cyborgia. Remember, like even it's not just Russia, it's Russia, then they had stops in between, and then it's also to not the Persian Empire, but what you guys would consider that really those Ottomans that had mixed with Russia in between because they traveled too, and this is where you get certain parts of Asia that look certain ways, right? So that's also what you need to put into context here. And when you do that, you can ground yourself like, oh, this is like you guys have been at goofy shit. So you yourself don't even know better, but I can help you, right? So now, aha, you breathe, and this is where you go read Sukra, and now you understand, like, I understand now, like, how more to use this tool in my hand, right? So you see me read the Bible as well. So now, one of the things that has gotten started here is people have really not, come to the awareness of how deep seated what I just said is and now has been unraveled, right? Because of this kid switch that birth, it's coming out even more because they've tried to starting that. Specifically a lot, right, really in the Turkish community. I don't know what you guys are doing. You guys just stop, right? So one of the things that is happening here is like all this rare disease and everything like that. You're bringing more attention to yourself for people to put their mind to it, and just because they put their mind to it, it automatically activates that chemical server we set up. I told you guys about that my chemical server where people their ATP gets shattered. That thing is really not a joke. I got several Louis bags, tennis shoes, Yeezys, etc. There was like for like a whole month because I kind of turned it off. It was like kind of a lot. Um, we were putting people on chemical servers, ratchets, completing challenges like, oh, look at this man followed you, get his picture, submit it. Good. Now look, you get a purse. It was going, yes. And several people were on my channel. A lot of people were talking about it in the chat. Yes, it was just going. Yes. And there, I'm gonna start this again where you guys can come talk about what was going on with that chemical server. It was just going for days. And something ended up happening here too that's gonna get somebody caught up because I found like a really nice like jacket, and in the jacket were like 3 tickets to this Skilla baby. Right. So now one of the things that got started here is everyone saw that, like, okay, so it's been going, it's been going. It's this type of shit that was going on. Like, how did that happen? Just random. How did I, right? And it'll be on camera and stuff like that. Like, how did I run into this? So now for you guys that are here listening, that's why you're here to find out, oh, really? So you were getting furniture, playing in my family, seeing me crying, stressed out, looking for people trying to organize. You were playing in my account. Little by little, you were doing, moving one element here, one piece of cake away from me, one couch, one this and that, saying that I'll never be a full woman. It's something that you're learning in the new Islam. And you're hiding this from us, right? That's nonsense that they went to go play with. Even the women, of course, they're playing. So now, one of the things that's going to come out here is a specific family. Well, first, let me preface this because I don't want what I'm going to say regarding the Afghani community to impact this other statement regarding a specific family that's going to prove this whole Russia thing. Now, one of the reasons to why they go against Hazarajat because they banished them. So, right now, one of the things that's going to go on here is they banish the Cyborgia. There's a specific family. The son looks very white. The mother was playing with one of them before wars and stuff like that and got pregnant with her son and went to go play games. And her son's very destabilized and he plays with the computer. And a lot of people know who I'm talking about. Their family, that's how the Cyborgia has been playing in the Afghani community, robbing people. So now, and they still play and talk. Whew. The love of my life. Yeah, Bibty, yeah. How? After all these years, yeah, playing and finding out about Cyborgia, what are you doing? Yeah. Length of time, yeah, starting hell shit. So, anyways, I say that to say, moving forward, what's gonna get started here now is the other explosion, which is Bachabozi, and how that's directly connected to people playing with the Cyborgia that brought that type of nonsense into the area. So what that is where they kidnap young boys like 12 to 17, and they force them into like doing parties where they dance, and then different men get to pick them to harass them. So it's a very delusional thing that they started to play games again. And this is how like people are playing with names these days, like, oh, their family does this and that. They use it as a mechanism of power, but also Cyborgia really started it. And somebody showed their hand being too like what's the word? Indulgent in it. And they found his hand. So that's just what I wanted to say too. And that's where Aki and them didn't realize, like, oh yeah, ooh, all this that we're doing and all this that we're starting, like, what's the origin of all this mess? And that story is gonna get unraveled as it's coming out that the Russians did something with that HTTP protocol too. And this man just now realized what they've been doing on the internet the whole entire time, playing games, and why he keeps on getting caught up, and what game they thought they were gonna play with DNA testing and other things in between that just shouldn't have never happened. And again, people of color in our lives, right, having to get wrapped up, in it, right? So I say that to say, like, just keep hope and faith alive, because now we see that there's a new way. Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is what has to happen everywhere for us to have the system on the computer. Because we're not just going to be here, like, stunting, right? We're not just going to be sitting on our laurels and resting on our haunches. So, yeah, just unravel that gin that's been trying to eat your din. That's a strong physics war. And still they couldn't have it. So that's what you're doing. You're trying to eat our dean. And you think it's gonna get you something in space to run a computer or run or build a psychedelic? Come to find out I'm the psychedelic? Just wait until Hood Talk starts in that whole encampment. What are you talking about? Yeah, in English. Yeah. And she has credit cards. Let's go buy something. So, yeah, too much is getting started. Like, why? So now, like, the community is like, let's get together, right? And this is where the black community, this is why the Palestinian community is now seeing. So that's how this has all been going on, because they saw our strife and they saw this, and they're women with hair, and they saw that there was something else for them, but you guys are playing, and how that even started in the first place. They saw all of it. And this is why so much is going on, because all these people were pining to get involved in that. And they said, that's too disrespectful. We're not dishonorable people. We're not. We're not. That's what I'm saying. The feds playing any type of false enforcement, trying to intercept and do this and do that. You have to unravel everything. And now it's the time is great, because you're in everyone's phone, everyone's computer. You can send out mass messages. You have all kinds of information. You've done it before. They're doing it at each other's job site board. Yeah, now women working and they're in meetings, and Zoom gets intercepted, and it's her fucking on her dad. Moments with Baba. And it's like a screen popping up with like some type of SpongeBob type theme energy, like, hi, right? Speaking in Russian. And yeah, she's getting doinked. People are getting mass emails. Look at who he is. Look what he does with his sister. Yeah. And they're involved in deep entrenchment with languages and words. I think that there's a new energy. I know that there's a new so right, like, so we say all those things and then we breathe it. Yeah, get that out of my yeah, haram. There needs to be a new word for haram. Yeah, because obviously that's just not enough. Yeah. So there's going to be way more discussion, but we're going to have it in person. There's so much more that you guys are going to find out about. Wow, I can't wait to tell you. And if you know me, you always know that if it's a surprise, then it's right? Really something that you might actually need to know, right? And then here people get in the computer to play. So, and yeah, readings, yeah. So, I'm gonna be getting on more because I'm gonna start work very soon. Again, back more in the field. So I'm gonna be coming on here to do speed reads. So those of you guys that want to check in, get your readings, those of you guys that want computer science hour, that I want to do in groups, right? So, but you guys can come like fixing things now, getting some certain things sealed now. We can make deals and barter. Some of you guys already have code. Let's code. Yeah, that's how they get together. Cyborgia, like, oh, let's code, and then they're having sex with each other. Yeah, well, let's code. Hello, ratchet and messy, and there's a word for it, but I can't say it right now. So, anyways, right. Yeah, I'm gonna get on. You guys can submit your payment and then get what you need. So you guys also have to realize too, there's like a high powered satellite frequencies like being blasted at my head and at a lot for a lot of us. So please excuse my neural network as I try to like adjust myself, right? So my algorithm is going in the is kind of like a while loop going there to keep me settled. And I'm also downloading a bunch of stuff for a lot of folks. There's a lot going on in a lot of our lives. We're processing a lot here. So, right. Some folks understand, some folks don't. People are having this experience, some people are not, right? And that's why life is so great. Like mental health is so good. I don't ever want to be in that group again. I love Daisy's channel. Yeah. Hey, so yeah, their awakening's happening. They're not stopping anything. I'm telling you. So, you guys, that's what I wanted to add on here. So, now the last thing too that we are going to be discussing, the last container, right, because there was three, is what has gotten started with Drake and how his hand is tied in this and playing games and doing too much. Because early on, PCP playing games in the community in Canada, and Drake knowing people and then tapping the phone of several older men from the Middle Eastern community. Yeah. And this is where you're about to watch a bunch happen in national security with Iran and Turkey. And he helped start that. Like, hey, bro, hey, they're moving now, though. They're moving now, 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 now. Hey, what happened? What happened? Oh, how do you know him? Yeah, oh, shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But, okay, wow, you're moving up. Okay, cool. This is good intel. Nah, Drake, he's not getting punishment tonight. You are. So remember, now it's the confession of sins and the rectification. Now each of us have to do it, right? That's what they get together in groups and do. Drinking from the royal chalice and like stupidity and nonsense like that. So what ended up happening here is yeah, and playing with team viewer. So right, and you have no respect. That's why I just had to like pause and like what I was gonna say, right? Because my dean is just like wanting to activate like my Aludine, aka, you know, the warfare you need to have in your blood and in your DNA if you say that you're going to war for wallahi for God. So even in the Bible they have these type of things, and this is where you see them saying, I'm going to war, and hi, I'm instructing you, like Saul and a few other characters, it's like a story with Saul and a few other characters. I'm instructing you to go down and kill their whole entire village. Okay, you brought one of them. I told you to kill all of them. Okay, well, I don't fuck with you anymore because I said all of them, right? So now this is where we get a realization like, oh, okay. And a lot of these things, we'll talk about more in person. I just feel like some of you guys needed that now. So got me sliding on the ops, yeah, messy. So now you see another level too. So now, one of the things too that can't be denied in regards to like the effect of that virtual reality technology is the fact that Tiffy Cooks, she stopped cooking pork. You guys know Tiffany from Tiffy Cooks? Because Tiffany's name came up in that virtual reality. Oh my God, their hand. So what ended up happening is she ended up she stopped cooking pork on her YouTube, and everyone was like watching like she's in the virtual reality because she literally stopped cooking pork when all that came out. It was like some funny story about Tiffany and her past life on the planet, and she actually did know Johnny Kiango, and they had like this bar. They would travel from place to place and do dancing shows and make soju or sojo jinju, and because it's like soju is happy, sojo jinju is happy, happy, sweet, sour, happy. It's like how they used to classify alcohol, right? And they would go and make dumplings, and Tiffany would do all these dances because remember, magic was very prevalent back on the planet before you guys went to go play. So they would do light shows and play games, and Tiffany would like sneak pork into people's dumplings and play games like that and start false marriages. Yeah, and it came out in virtual reality, and she stopped cooking pork, and Asia got so fucking quiet. That's what happened. If you look at Tiffany's channel, she stopped cooking pork. I'm telling you, that virtual reality, they should have never showed their hand with that nonsense. Everyone got pulled into it. So, so yeah, and that's how Korea's exploding right now. Literally, right? So Korea is exploding right now too because of something that came out. So everyone's gonna find out. So this is what you guys have been doing. You've been playing with the technology, and space is intercepting and showing wars. Yeah, and people were just sitting here watching it. Whew, yeah, it's heavy. It's so heavy. It's real heavy. Something has got to stop. Yeah, it got to give. So the whole hood saw that. Why am I watching this in Asia? Yeah, and what is this? You're gonna stop that immediately. Yeah, niggas inspecting, going to go play with like little black hentai girls. I like that nonsense. Or play with anime. Like, I just want to know what this is. Yeah, because so much came out about anime too. For some of the you guys, your kids are watching this. Anime is from space. Yeah, it's just like when people of color get mad and it's anime. So something really came out about that. And that's how Asia got quiet real quick because they went to go play with people spiritually. And the biggest thing that I just have to tell for the Middle Eastern community is that the whole entire Kirigani is watching this. That's the Asian royal family. The Iradogan is the African royal families of the West Coast that had to deal with the slave trade and metals. There's other names like the Azeribet is the royal families of Eastern Africa and parts of Yemen with the Ethiopians, Eritreans, Somalians, etc. And the Middle Eastern is the Al Hafla, aka the royal families of the Middle East, because they got pulled into that. People have been working, they're not playing with these people. The Kirigani got pulled into that real early because people playing with magic and starting shit. And there's the royal families of Asia and then the royal families of Asia. The people that were like spiritually royal, they maintain the animals, they maintained the royal scripts, they did what they needed to do, artwork, they advocated stuff like that. The president of Brazil right now has cancer because they set the Natural Museum on fire and killed hella artifacts. The Kirigani was involved in that and they stepped in on them, and there's something going on with that whole BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and what they did with the Amazon too. So the Kirigani got word that they were playing with that technology and what they were doing, and that they had came to come peek out because a lot of them, they don't get involved. They're out of society or they, that type of stuff. And they came to peek out and saw that all these Daili, the quote unquote elite that are business elite, their kids had turned to yokai. And that's when someone went to go get wicked and messy. Like basically the equivalent of what they did was rewrite Quran and say that this family owns this part of the Quran, that family owns that part of the Quran that only explains punishments and what haram behavior is. And that's how they went to go rewrite yokai and say that it's this prefecture and that prefecture because they got exposed in virtual reality. So when I say, whoa, too much is getting started. You guys have really you're about to come and see this on TV. I'm telling you, everyone's just keeping them quiet. Let them keep on playing. Right. What are you talking about? Right. So now when this whole thing went up with rituals and that whole coding language, that got something nipped in the bud too quickly regarding Xiong. Yeah. So now, let's move forward here. And something with the Dai Li and people walking to the suicide forest in droves. Yeah, it's over for us. Yeah. And then people celebrating in the suicide forest. Like, this place doesn't scare me anymore. Because now I just know it's host from space. People sitting there with moon cakes, and it was like some like festival, moon festival or something like that when this got started. Whew. And old grandma sitting there passing out cakes and candy and pies and watching all the families that started all this bullshit, their kids walking to suicide forest or getting caught up in chaos and nonsense and real shit going down. Especially when we brought out Grand Theft Auto and Midnight Club. Whoa, about those video games and early games early on. Ooh, ooh. Asia, I'm telling you, it's quiet. So now, right, that's what you wanted to play with. So I'm just sitting here watching, like, wow, yeah, and he's a drifter. Yeah, oh, people really stepped out. So I'm telling you, Drake, there is really nothing else to happen to him but for him to get killed. I'm sorry to say it in the Middle Eastern community. With all this talk of Aki and all them, there is nothing else for Aki but for him to, get hit. Like, you just never know how you get hit. Something could just happen. So it's not a matter of if, it's when, because of what came out in that virtual reality. I just had to like come and put that some of that down here. Whew. Watching people get amputated, Asia, they showed out. People were just watching all of it. Some of the stores that they had, they were putting certain things on stock. And because of the virtual reality, people can see where I was going, where I was walking. I lived in Koreatown. And something ended up getting started because the Koreatown, the street that I lived off, was like considered like 37. So that whole entire strip is like 37, this and this and this and this and that, all the way down. And it started something very vicious. And instantly, when it came out in Koreatown, several stores ended up closing, businesses like just shut down. We'll talk about it in person, but I just wanted to let you guys know, yeah, something super quiet in Asia. They remembered themselves real quick. They're doing too much. Yeah. India, that they didn't even have a time to even get caught up. That rectified itself. You guys saw that on my channel. Right, so you guys know when you're causing things like that, you just have to be very careful because there can constantly be repercussions for you. You just may have never known how far something was actually going. So this is now where you get karmics playing at work, thinking it's okay, and it's not. So for the Middle Eastern community, of course, one of the biggest things for this code to come on the planet, women are going to have to start being in the masjid and having a role. And there's going to have to be a rectification and balance in the distribution of like what it means to be somebody that can be intelligent and academic and smart and things like that, right? There also has to be a rectification to this nonsense that had gone on with this haram thing. And then also too, yeah, the Kaaba has to start spinning in a different direction. It has to go clockwise, right? So for years they put a magic in space because your intentions of like love for God will just overpower that, right? So now it has to just, and we move, right? Everyone's gonna get a message. They're in space handling it right now. That's another thing that happened. People been getting messages like, I was around then. We were playing games then. Oh, I'm Mexican now. Whew, that's gonna be a story. Yeah. And then they got pulled into it and they thought it was cute. So they know they know. And they think it's like some story. And that's why Nasruddin didn't get her marriage, because secretly she separated us. And it's like something kind of like similar to slavery. Yeah. I was in over here in the Persian Empire. Then now all of a sudden, like I was once Mexican and Spanish. And then like now I'm back here. And it was supposed to be us in that marriage. And look at Quietest Revolution said so, and look, Stephanie said so because I paid her. And she does magic for me. Okay, yeah, we shouldn't have like done that at her wedding. Or like paid somebody and then said, you know who, you know what I meant. That's how some females, they went to go play like that. Like, I'll just hired somebody, and she went up in somebody's wedding, and they went to go play like that. So you guys were so scandalous. Yeah, also playing in the Asian community. It was just one situation that went too far with Cheong at people's wedding. It's true design.